Right, the third job of the day, we just got to swap out this water heater. I'm not too sure what's wrong with it. They've just basically asked for a replacement. I think somebody else has been out and they've said it's faulty. Whether the element's gone in it, I'm not too sure. We'll put a new expansion vessel on as well. It's probably full anyway. We'll basically change all the bits that come in the kit. So if it comes with a new PRV as well, we'll change that. I think the discharge is on the ton dish. That one just drops into that. So, and then it's 28mm out the wall down that side, down there. So we'll isolate the cold. Obviously we've got non-return valve, that's all correct, So it all looks correct, we'll just get this heat swapped out, we'll isolate the power, check for dead, and then get it swapped. There's probably like a 10% chance of this actually shutting off. How lucky are we feeling? I don't actually know where the water turns off in this side. Oh, this one works, look. The golden. Obviously, ideally you change it, but sometimes you just don't know where stuff turns off. So as long as it isolates there, we'll have a look, as I say, we'll have a look what bits we've got in the kit and we'll get it swapped. Right, this unit's got a blender inside. I do hope the new one has, otherwise we'll have to put one in. Obviously the water should be stored at 60 and then delivered at between like 39 and 41 for the blended outlets. It's just hand wash. So we'll have a look inside. It looks a little bit crispy, like it's been leaking at some point. So I don't know whether that's why they're changing it, I don't know. It might just be that it's not working, the immersion might have gone in it. But obviously I only do what I'm told. So we'll get the cable disconnected, sort of connecting around that side. And then undo the two pipes and the unit will lift off. I don't think they've put a bracket on at the side. I don't know, we'll have a look. So this is the new unit, it's looking pretty similar to the old one to be fair. So obviously we've got inlet, outlet, blender, obviously temperature pressure relief, that's the element or the immersion, whatever you want to call it. They normally come preset to be fair, but we'll double check the temperatures anyway when we're doing. Obviously we need to store it hot enough. And then, yeah, not too sure what that bit's made of. Oh, that's probably comes out there, that'll be the discharge. Sorry, had a dull moment. I imagine that'll connect through the side of this heater. Well, I've disconnected the cable off the immersion. We'll undo the cable clamp. It's pretty awkward to get to be fair. Some plumbers put a pipe in there. And then hopefully we should just be able to disconnect the whole. Where's the other screw? Come on, you're there somewhere. There you are. Get that unscrewed. Cable should pull out then. It's never easy. Just have to undo the screw a little bit more. Side by side comparison, they look like they're going to be a straight swap. That would flush on it just then. Looks like it's going to be a straight swap. So we'll get the new one lifted on. Hopefully it will fit straight back on the bracket. I think it just fits on them for. Right, I've just dropped the new unit on. The only thing I haven't got is a new PRV for that. Hopefully that one should be okay. It doesn't look like it's been running. But I'll put a new expansion vessel on because we've got one of them in the van, and then we'll just connect it back up like for like, sort out that ton dish bit that just bolts on the side, goes into that pressure relief, and then wire it back up and that should be job done. Obviously we'll check temperatures and stuff, it should be nice and easy. I think that will, well that went in with an elbow before, but we'll have a look anyway. If not, we'll just jiggle the pipe a little bit, or alter the pipe. But yeah, hopefully nice and easy this one. So I'll put a new 2 litre in expansion in. Just hope this is okay because I haven't actually got one of them. Just need to wire it up, connected it all back in how it was, and then just sort this ton dish out on there. So yeah, we're getting there. I've just turned the water on. I'll make sure I haven't got any leaks on any of my fittings. Is that leaking? I don't know, we'll dry it off. I don't think it is, but we'll double check obviously. I think it could just be what I spilled before on the pipe, but we'll double check. I've just pulled that out of there. I'm going to put a new 6-bar on this as well, because every time I turn the water on it just pees out. I've tried resealing it, but to be honest with you, they're not very good. I've put a new expansion vessel on, and luckily I've got one in the van anyway, so same pressure. We'll get that swapped over. Right, we'll turn the water back on and see what happens. I know some of you will be saying it should have a pressure reduction valve on. You may be right. If it goes above, I think it says 4.1 bar in the instructions, you're required to put a pressure reduction valve on, but I don't think the water pressure is that high on this site. Obviously it'd be handy if we had a gauge, but it's been alright all these years while the old heater was in. So I think it's just, probably that went flat, then it caused that to discharge, and then that didn't reseal, and then the heater was a separate issue. Obviously we'll make that back in with the male iron and stuff. That should be okay now. Right, I'm happy this is okay. So we should be able to put this back in here. Just nip that back up. And then we'll put the lid on the heater. I just got to put the ball thing back in. And yeah, should be okay. Right, I've just turned the power onto it. I've not put the lid back on because obviously I need to check on my temperatures and stuff, but there's no leaks. I've been around, checked on all the pipes. Have a really good check, because obviously you don't want to leave any problems. We'll let that heat up while we're tidying away, and we'll check the temperatures in a minute. Right, we've just got to swap this radiator. The customer's had a new kitchen, and I think the radiator's just rusty. I don't think it's leaking, but obviously they're having new flooring and stuff, so it kind of makes sense to do it while they're having all the work done. So it should just be a case of switching the valves off. Hopefully these hold. We'll switch the lock shield off as well, whip the radiator off, and we'll just work out where the brackets are going on the new one. It should be dead easy to sort. You always want to sort of count your turns when you're shooting these, although you're kind of responsible for balancing the system. This one was probably full open, to be fair. You know, you can only do your best. Obviously, if the last person did his job right, in theory the system should be balanced, but we'll double check everything anyway before we're done. So we'll turn that one off, and then we can crank the nuts in. I use Manipec smooth jaws, and then just a spanner just to hold it yourself, so you don't rip any of the chrome surfaces. So we should be able to disconnect. Might be easier to disconnect it on the other side actually, because it's got the 3/4 fit in, so it gives us a bit of movement. Let that drain a second. We just disconnect it on this 3/4 side, just so hopefully then we can lift the lid off. Manipec's smooth jaws, you have to hold against yourself. Sometimes you have to hold against yourself, but that one was all tight. Let's see if we can move that pipe out of the way. I've got the plumb thumbs, but sometimes you can't always get them on very easily. We'll have a look. So that's the radiator all lifted off. I did it full of water, to be honest with you. There's no flooring down, so it doesn't matter if you spill a little bit. I'll get these brackets off, and we should be able to work out the positions of the new ones in. Luckily, they're Phillips screws. It's when you get the old flatheads, nightmare to get off sometimes. Stiction holds it on. Right, we'll get the rad unpacked, check for damage, and then we'll just work out the centres. Right, we just need to work out the centre of where the radiator is going, so we'll measure across. You get a little bit of play on your brackets anyway. So that's 850, that's 425 to the centre. You can probably sometimes see where the old radiator was anyway. And then you just need to work out the height at the bottom of the bracket and work out the distance in between. So my brackets are 260 apart. So one bracket will sit there. One bracket will sit there. So when I say 260 apart, I mean 260 off centre, so they're like 520. And we just need to work out the heights. All things being equal, that should be the bottom of my bracket. I'll put a little line there. Level's not quite long enough. We'll be alright. That should be the bottom of the bracket. It was on the thinner setting before, so hopefully, if we do something like that, we'll just mark a couple of the fixings out. And then we'll get them drilled and we'll double check it, make sure it's all level. does. I've just popped it on. I know I've got to put my plastic bits on the brackets yet to stop it vibrating when it heats up or clicking. I just checked it for height though, it's not looking too bad. Obviously I'll take the tail out of the old radiator, pop that in there. I think I should just about to get it. I don't want to use extenders though, so if I need to I'll just hold the pipe, but I think that'll probably just go a little bit tight, but should be fine. We'll pop a level on and see what it's like. My brackets were level, but that doesn't really mean a lot. Yeah, I might just get a longer level because sometimes the grills will throw it out, but I don't think it's too bad. No, I think it should be fine. A lot of the time it's what it looks like with like the window boards and stuff like that. But old properties, you can only sort of do your best. I think that looks fine. We'll get it piped up and that should do it. I use the ratchet thing from Rothenberger. This one's a little bit rusty to be fair, I've had it quite a few years. Still works though. So that just takes your tails out. That fits, like, I think they do bigger valves as well. I think you can probably go up to inch or inch and a quarter on the old cast iron rads. Just move that out. And then we'll pop that back in the radiator. I'll probably get a new tail for that end because it's a little bit marked up. Should have one in the van. Come on, out you come. There we go. We'll Loctite that up, pop it in the radiator and get it sorted. We'll just tighten the tail back in. And then I always use JetBlue just on the connections. Saves any callbacks and any leaks. What I might do is leave this rad off anyway so the decorator can, I don't know, decorate behind it. Try and tip the rad over. One more for me. How's it looking? Yeah, it's going to be quite tight, so I might just give that a little bit more because obviously just the adjustment on the pipe. If I need to, I'll alter the pipe, but I don't really want to drain it down, to be honest with you. It should go. It should be fine. This will just about be perfect. We've got that side just nipped up. I might leave it off anyway, as I say, for the decorator. I know I might try and find a cap just in case that happens. I don't think it will because it's quite warm, but that's only on a frost setting. And if it does open, it'll drain the system. So yeah, we'll probably leave it loose. I'll find a cap for that, or just cap the TRV off on a half-inch plug. But yeah, I'll put the air taps in and that should be that done. Nice and easy really. But obviously double check the inhibitor levels and stuff in the system. But apart from that, it's always nice when stuff lines back up. You very rarely get it, to be fair. But yeah, sorted. We've got the world's smallest vanity unit to try and fit it. I know it's going to be mega tight in here, but I came and first fixed this the other day. I've run 1.5 inch waste. What we'll have to do is probably bring the pipes to the middle, carry them on along, bring them out in the right place, and then we'll get all the unit. We'll probably cut the skirting board and just get a unit fixed back to the wall. It shouldn't be too bad to fit, to be fair. It's just obviously, I think there'll be enough room. It's just obviously quite small, but it is what it is. We'll get this fitted. And yeah, hopefully it'll be alright. So I need to extend my hot and colds across. I put a couple more clips here and they need to come 600 from the finished floor into the unit, and then we'll put a pair of ISO valves and then onto the flexes for the tap. The waste will just come up here, the trap will sit here somewhere inside the unit and then just go along. So we'll get all this prep first, then we'll get the unit fixed, and then it should just be a simple case of just connecting, making the final connections inside. They're all prepped, ready to rock and roll. What I'll do is cut the unit. I think these are probably being boxed in anyway, but we'll cut them carefully. Obviously cut the skirting and get the thing screwed back. It's provided with some L brackets, so we should just be able to fix it there, and then all this we can connect inside then. So we'll put 2 service valves, short piece of copper. I think, I've not looked at the tap yet, but if we need to connect onto it with male lines, we can do. If not, just straight onto compression, and then the trap will just come along and in. Hopefully that should be fine. We'll carefully mark the centres of these, and then we'll just draw around each of the pipes, and we'll carefully cut the sections out, and then, as I say, we'll just trim the skirting boards back then. Right, we've laid the unit on some cardboard. It's got protective film on anyway, we don't want to scratch it obviously, and we'll carefully draw around each of the pipes. So this will be the 1.5 inch, then the 2 15mm, and we'll just jigsaw them out carefully. So that should be where we want to be. I know that I probably didn't level the unit up first. The floor might be a little bit out, but I think there'll be enough play on that just to give us that little bit. We can always get some covers anyway, but as I say, if it's boxed in at the side, you'll never see it anyway. So always measure twice and cut once, obviously. It's just probably just run the jigsaw around, and then hopefully it will do that. I decided just to cut the unit down rather than the skirting board. It will go in nice and tight, to be fair, so it should look fine. I just need to get it levelled up and then just screw the L brackets into the wall, and that should be that. And then our pipes, obviously we'll bed the basin on, we'll take all the wrappers and stuff off, we'll bed the basin in, and then we'll just connect it up. It should be nice and easy from here. I've decided to take the protective wrapper off only because it was a nightmare. It was coming off in like 6-inch strips, and when you leave it, it can get even worse. So I just need to bed the basin on, and then we'll connect the pipes off underneath. But the unit is nice and solid, nice and level. So yeah, it's not too bad in here actually. It's probably more room than I thought. I know it's probably not really going to be able to do much else and wash your hands, but it's a nice deep basin, to be fair. And then we'll do a splashback. Sparky will move the light switch, and then they'll just have to tidy up the pipe work. As I say, there's not too much more I can do with that cold feed. It is what it is. But yeah, not too bad, and obviously they'll sort all the floor in and it'll be fine then. But yeah, we'll get it connected in. You just want to apply a nice thin bead of silicone all along the edges. It's the only way you can bed these on, to be fair. Obviously it's a bit squiggly because I'm working left-handed. We can wipe off the excess. So along there, and then we can pop a little bit on the back of the basin as well, just so it gets a hole. So that looks awful because I'm doing it left-handed, but you kind of get the idea. It's just there's no other way you can fix them basins. What I always do is tighten my male lines onto my flexes first. That way when you tighten them onto your service valves, I'll get my hand out of the way, it won't kink the flexi. So I just need 2 short bits of copper to go in between the valves, and then we'll just tighten them up. That'll be perfect. Perfect. I always use jet blue on my compression fittings, so just a little bit of jet blue over the olive, like that. And then same on that one. We'll do that in a second actually. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then same on there. Just a little bit of jet blue. And nip that up. Yeah, I realise my grip's the wrong way, but it'll be fine. That'll be fine. That way you don't kink your flexi then. Just do the same on the heart and that'll be job done. That'll be fine. turn them off before we test anything. It'll be fine. With these wastes, because there's only a slot on that side, you need to make sure you line that slot with that. So I always do the silicone. It's controversial. Some people use plumber's mate, but I've always used silicone and never had a problem. So that'll go in there. We'll pop some silicone on it. We'll make sure the slot's lined up, and then underneath we'll use the rubber wash and silicone. So I always do. We never have a problem. So other people will do it differently, and then our trap will go straight onto there into that pipe hopefully. We actually guessed the height of the waste pipe extremely well. I never actually measured it, I just sort of eyed it up. But we just need a short bit in between, and then that'll just connect that up, nice and easy. Everything's nice and easy to get to. We've got some valves in there. I'll probably just put the door on the other way around, obviously put the handle on. But apart from that, we're pretty much done. It's beautiful. We'll give it a test. Oh, got the valves off underneath. We'll turn the valves on first and then we'll test it. There'll probably be loads of air in here, to be fair. We'll just let that go. We'll fill it up to overflow, but we'll make sure we've got no big leaks for a start. We can dacre it down on the service valves if we need to. Looking pretty good though. Nothing obvious leaking, which is a good sign. The water looks a bit brown, doesn't it? Oops, there goes the air. Bit of a weird colour that, isn't it? I'll try not to flood the place. Yeah, should be fine. I think the house has been empty a while. I don't know, it might just be some flux or something. I'm not too sure why it's that colour.